I never thought life could change in a single night. My son Michael was the pride of my world, strong, kind, a man anyone would trust. When he brought Jessica home 5 years ago, I welcomed her with open arms. She was charming, beautiful, ambitious, everything a mother dreams her son's wife would be. But dreams are fragile things, and sometimes the ones you trust most are the ones who shatter them. The night of the accident is carved into my soul. The phone rang just past midnight. I still remember the chill that crawled through my veins when I heard the voice on the other end. "Mrs. Harris, there's been an accident. Your son, I didn't let the man finish." I drove through the rain like a madwoman, the world blurring around me. When I reached the hospital, Michael was unrecognizable. Tubes, machines, the rhythmic beeping that mocked every breath I took. Jessica stood in the corner, her mascara running, sobbing like a widow before her husband had even left this world. The doctors said he'd live, but not as he was. The accident had left him disabled. His legs were paralyzed. My heart broke that day, not just for his pain, but for what I saw in Jessica's eyes. It wasn't love. It was calculation. At first, I told myself I was imagining things. Trauma changes people. Jessica said she'd stand by him, that she'd take care of him. I believed her. I even thanked God for blessing my son with such a loyal woman. But months later, the truth began to unravel like a loose thread on a perfect dress. She stopped bringing him to therapy sessions. I'd find him sitting alone in that dim living room, the curtains drawn, a man who used to run marathons now too broken to ask for help. "Where's Jessica?" I asked one day. He just shrugged. "Out. Shopping, I guess." Shopping. While bills piled up, while her husband sat trapped in his own body, she shopped. One afternoon, I found a legal notice in the mail. At first, I thought it was a mistake. But no, it was a petition for divorce. Jessica was suing for half the house and full custody of little Sarah, their 6-year-old daughter. My hands trembled as I read the words. It was then I realized this wasn't grief or confusion. This was greed. I confronted her that evening. "Jessica, what are you doing? How could you do this to him?" She smirked, a cold little twist of her lips. "Maria, don't be naive. I didn't sign up to be a nurse. I married a man, not a burden. You think I'm going to waste my youth pushing a wheelchair?" My hand almost lifted to strike her, but I stopped myself. My voice shook. "That man loves you. He built a life with you," she shrugged. "Then he can love himself now." That night, I sat beside my son. He looked defeated. "Mom," he whispered, "maybe she's right. I'm just useless now." I took his hand, and for the first time in years, I let him see the steel behind my softness. "You listen to me, Michael. You are not useless, and I won't let that woman destroy this family." He looked at me confused. He'd forgotten something about me, something I had buried when I became a wife, then a mother. I wasn't just anyone. I was Maria Harris, the Queen of Law, a name that once echoed through courtroom halls. I'd retired 10 years ago, traded the sharp edge of justice for the quiet rhythm of family. But Jessica had just reawakened the part of me I'd put to sleep. The next morning, I dusted off my old files, my black blazer, the one I hadn't worn since my husband's funeral. I called an old colleague, now a judge. "I need a favor," I told him. "Family court, a custody case. I'll represent my son myself." The trial began 2 weeks later. Jessica arrived with a high-priced attorney, dressed in designer black, her expression pure confidence. Michael looked small beside her, nervous, ashamed. I walked in, head held high, my heart pounding with decades of courtroom memory. The judge raised an eyebrow when he saw me. "Mrs. Harris," he said softly, "it's been a long time." "Too long, Your Honor," I replied. But I suppose justice never retires. Jessica's lawyer started strong, painting her as the victim, a woman trapped in an unbearable situation. "My client," he said smoothly, "has endured emotional and financial neglect. She merely seeks fairness." When it was my turn, I stood and looked directly into Jessica's eyes. "Fairness?" I said, my voice cold. "Fairness would be standing by your husband when he needed you. Fairness would be teaching your daughter compassion, not greed." I presented every record, Michael's therapy receipts, his medical reports, even the bank transfers Jessica made to her secret account. But I wasn't done. There was one more piece of evidence, something I'd found while going through Michael's old files. Hidden in their joint bank account was a series of transfers, thousands of dollars, sent to a man named Evan Brooks. I'd done my homework. Evan was Jessica's ex-boyfriend, a real estate agent who had recently listed several properties, including our house. When I presented the proof, the courtroom went silent. Jessica's face drained of color. "Mrs. Harris," I said calmly, "would you care to explain why your name is on a property transfer document for a house that isn't yours to sell?" Her lawyer stammered, tried to object, but the judge motioned him down. "Answer the question," he said. Jessica's voice cracked. "It's not what it looks like." "Oh, it's exactly what it looks like," I replied. "You wanted my son's home. You wanted custody of their child. But what you really wanted was money. You were planning to sell the house and disappear." Jessica broke down, tears spilling down her perfect face, but it was too late. The evidence spoke louder than her crocodile cries. The judge ruled in Michael's favor. Full custody, no alimony, and Jessica stripped of her claim to the property. When the gavel fell, I closed my eyes and let out a breath I'd been holding for months. Outside the courtroom, Michael held my hand. "Mom," he said quietly, "I don't know what to say." I smiled at him through my tears. "You don't have to say anything, son. Just promise me you'll live, that you'll walk again, even if it's just in your dreams." He nodded. "I will, Mom, I will." Months passed. Michael began therapy again, stronger than ever. Little Sarah started smiling more. Sometimes she'd sit in my lap and whisper, "Grandma, you're a hero." I'd laugh softly and say, "No, my dear, I'm just a mother who remembered who she was." One evening, as the sun set over our backyard, Michael wheeled out beside me. "Mom," he said, "I want to tell my story. Maybe it'll help others who've lost everything." I looked at him and nodded. "Then tell it. Let the world see that even when life takes your legs, it can't take your will." And that's why I'm sharing this today. Because love isn't just about holding someone when they're whole. It's about fighting for them when they're broken. Jessica thought she could break us, but she forgot something. A mother's love isn't weakness. It's law, and sometimes the law needs to roar. So to every mother, every son, every person who's been betrayed, never let darkness define you. Remember who you are and never underestimate your strength. And to you, my dear listener, if this story touched your heart, if it made you believe that justice still lives in the human spirit, then don't forget to subscribe. Because more stories like this deserve to be told. Stories of truth, courage, and the power of love that never gives up.